So Sides gets hit with a tee, and Mabry sinks the free throw.
Yeah, she catches it before she establishes inside. I like the feisty Christie Sides. I have no problem with that technical foul at all. And plus, you don't want your players to be the ones arguing, so it's a way to say, listen, I got your back here already.
Right.
Now you guys settle in.
The Minnesota Lynx and Cheryl Reeve had already set the tone for the season, and no one believed that Christie Sides could be in the conversations for the Coach of the Year, looking at the starting for the Indiana Fever. However, things rapidly took a turn as the second-year coach for the team pushed them to the playoffs. As the WNBA now rolls out awards, Caitlin Clark has won the Rookie of the Year unanimously. However, her coach will not be able to join her for the honors. In fact, she has been majorly snubbed per recent numbers.
It is going to be fun basketball in the summer.
No doubt. McBride for three. Icing on the cake.
These fans will be ready.
Yeah, in front of this raucous crowd at Target Center. Mack, the turnaround, and she has a career high tonight, and that'll do it. The Minnesota Lynx, they get the sweep and advance to the WNBA semifinals.
While it was expected that the Minnesota Lynx's Cheryl Reeve would win the title, for most unanimously, stats show that she received 62 out of 67 votes. It was her record-breaking fourth award, with her personnel decisions proving fruitful for the Lynx alongside her coaching. Meanwhile, Sandy Brondello received 4 votes, and Sides received just 1, a brutal blow to the team indeed. Following the same, some fans have been calling out for the Fever management to replace the head coach already. Let's see what Minnesota Lynx said.
I think it's more of, it's the official announcement has not been made by USA Basketball, so it'd be premature for me to have any conversations about any player or anything until I see that announcement.
Well, that's diplomatic answer, Reeve.
Listen, we started that second half. 7-0 run is what they went on. Let me tell you what they finished with. They only had 21 points the rest of the game after that timeout right there. I'm serious. We went to the free throw line 24 times. We only had 2 turnovers the whole fourth quarter. That's huge for us. That is huge for us. Hey, I want to say this. Queen played and had 10 rebounds for us, and they were big, huge rebounds. Listen, I know you didn't score the points you thought you wanted, but you played your...
August was a special month when Sides was named the Coach of the Month for leading the Fever to a 5-1 record. Their offense had also been the highest rated among all teams in August at 110.7. It was a first for the franchise, although granted, the award had been introduced in 2017. Nevertheless, while Sides has made history for the team, not everyone is happy with her progress. Sides always show support for Clark. Let's see what Sides said about Clark.
Just when Caitlin went down with that ankle in the second quarter, were you worried at all it was going to be something bigger than what it was? Or?
Yeah, I was worried. A lot worried. She is tough. She takes hits. I mean, you've seen the videos of her taking these hits on these screens, and I'm not sure if she stepped on somebody's foot or came down them. I haven't seen it, but when she didn't get up, I know it's serious, but she's tough. She's tough. She didn't want anybody to help her off the court. I love that about her. I love that's what she's about. She walked it off herself, did what she needed to do to come back in the game.
Let's see what Claire Report tweeted. Christie Sides received 1 vote for Coach of the Year. Let's see what Clark said about Christie Sides before loosing from Connecticut's Sun.
I felt like Kels probably should have got a little love. I honestly thought she probably should have been Player of the Month. Just what she was doing, and at the clip she was doing it, I think she was like 50, 40, 90 this month, which is really, really hard to do. So I feel very fortunate to play with her, and honestly, I'm not even trying to be corny. Like, I really think she deserved it. So I think sharing that with her, and I feel lucky to have, a kind of a backcourt mate that has been, through this for 7 years and has really helped me and kind of let me flourish, and same with Christie. And but at the same time, it is cool, and I think Christie has definitely allowed me to be myself and kind of figure out this team, figure out how to be successful, and hasn't really held me back from kind of what I did in college. Yes, sure, is breaking some habits and getting used to some things that you do differently professionally, but at the same time, I didn't lose what made me really good, and tried to bring that here and replicate that for this team too.
This show how much Clark respect her coach. Sides deserve a chance to win the Coach of the Month in next season. Let's see what Clark said about her team and coach at last press conference.
So, like AB said, it's a good little taste of what's possible for this organization and for this franchise, and there's a lot for us to hold our heads high about. This team won I think 5 games 2 years ago, so we're a young group, a pretty inexperienced group, but we came together and I had a lot of fun playing with one another, and that's sometimes the worst part of it is you feel like you're really playing your best basketball and then it has to end. And but like I said, proud of this group, stayed resilient all year, and had a lot of fun together.
Caitlin is such a leader. Proud of how far the team has come, and fans can't wait to see them again in court. Let's see what Christie Sides said.
But I think just looking at how far we've come from the start of the season to now, I'm just super proud of our group because I think we had such a special 12, and I just can't wait to see what the future holds.
Obviously a tough one, especially because we climbed all the way back in and definitely had our opportunities late, and then a few different miscues, and it's back to a 2-possession game, and we couldn't quite get over the hump there. So like AB said, it's a good little taste of what's possible for this organization and for this franchise, and there's a lot for us to hold our heads high about. This team won I think 5 games 2 years ago, so we're a young group, a pretty inexperienced group, but we came together and I had a lot of fun playing with one another, and that's sometimes the worst part of it is you feel like you're really playing your best basketball and then it has to end. And like I said, proud of this group, stayed resilient all year, and had a lot of fun together.
I think the word that Caitlin just used when she said resilient, I think that's what I'm sitting here. We're all competitors in that locker room, and so it doesn't feel good. It just doesn't feel good to leave here and not have the opportunity to get another one and an opportunity to move forward. But
unfortunately, it's disappointment of not moving forward for both Clark and her coach. It's a tough moment, but her focus on resilience highlights the strength of their team and the potential for future success. Sides had looked out of her depth when the season began, as the Fever went 2-8 during their first 10 games. But slowly, the defense built up and the rotations made sense. Nevertheless, this season wasn't enough for her to qualify as Coach of the Year. She will likely stay the next year and hopefully make something better of the 2 roties the Fever boasts, Caitlin Clark in 2024 and Aliyah Boston in 2023. However, 2 players could change things up for Sides. Let's see recent performances of Indiana Fever.
Without them being able to contest.
And Stolke posting up, but you know who they go to. 22 from the outside. Oh, this is going to happen quick. And her team, don't let this crowd get to you. So far, done anything but that. Recovered by Gabby Marshall. Here comes Clark. How will she go for history? There it is! The all-time leading scorer in women's college basketball.
After this season, Fever veteran Kelsey Mitchell is an unrestricted free agent. She has not yet re-signed her contract with Indiana, citing family reasons for her delayed decision. After suddenly losing her father in March this year, 2024 has been hard on Mitchell, although she has returned to excellent play as usual. But her future is so far uncertain. Let's see what Kelsey Mitchell said about Indiana Fever.
Kind of give yourself some grace about where I started as a player and where the Fever organization was and where it is now. You got to appreciate the evolution of the game, the players that came in it, people like C-Squared, even this group, that draft class that came out. They've taken really good leaps at making teams better, and I think C-Squared has done that for us. And I think now it's about focused on taking it to the next step. And
with Nalissa Smith, her reduced role on the team had been clear throughout the season. But 2 days ago, she took to Instagram to post a lengthy caption, thanking fans, friends, and family for their support. But part of that caption read, "I've never questioned my basketball abilities in my life, because I know I'm good enough and I know I belong." While nothing has been made clear, Christie Sides did comment on Smith's abilities. Per Indy Star's Chloe Peterson, "She had great moments for us throughout the year. She is one of the key pieces that we were able to have such a successful year." Moreover, the Baylor alum has also clarified how that post was not a goodbye, but a reflection of the year in her exit interview. If Smith somehow chooses to change paths and go elsewhere after her contract is up, it will be a big blow to the Fever's current roster, especially if Kelsey Mitchell decides to switch teams as well, or make different decisions regarding basketball entirely. Christie Sides has her work cut out for her with this young team, but fans wait with bated breath to see what the next season brings. As for Cheryl Reeve, she did deserve all the flowers for the tough team.
Obviously, it's always important to give credit where it's due, and I think we all realize where the credit needs to be given as far as the success of this WNBA season. Caitlin Clark came in and made such an impact on how many people started to care about the WNBA. This was the highest viewed season in the history of the league. In 28 years, the numbers were stellar. Caitlin Clark drew a whole new fan base into it. And now the question is, because she has been eliminated, she and the Indiana Fever are eliminated after losing 2 games to the Connecticut Sun. What is the rest of the season going to look like, ratings-wise, for the WNBA? Are people still going to care?
Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever lost the second game of their series in a close 87-81 match on September 25th, ending their playoff run. Following Clark's exit from the WNBA playoffs, ex-ESPN journalist Charlie Arnold discussed how her absence could impact the league's ratings and viewership on Outkick the Morning. Let's see what Charlie said.
Her first playoff game, drawing 1.84 million viewers. Ridiculous numbers. The highest rated playoff game since Game 2 of the 2000 WNBA Finals. This wasn't even just an opening round game back in 2000. This was one of the finals games. So this clearly is showing how much of an impact Caitlin Clark is having. A total of 22 WNBA games clocked north of 1 million viewers. That surpassed the standing record of 15 games set in 1998. The Indiana Fever, remember, Caitlin Clark was drafted first, which means last year they were the worst team in the WNBA. It did not matter because this season they were the most watched team in the league.
Caitlin Clark was truly the game changer. Millions of viewers for her first playoff game shows just how big her impact is on the WNBA.
A total of 22 WNBA games clocked north of 1 million viewers. That surpassed the standing record of 15 games set in 1998. The Indiana Fever, remember, Caitlin Clark was drafted first, which means last year they were the worst team in the WNBA. It did not matter because this season they were the most watched team in the league. An average of viewership, 1.1 million viewers each game in the regular season. Other games, listen to this, paled in comparison, drawing just about 394,000 viewers on average per game. So 1.19 million versus 394,000 for the rest of the WNBA teams.
Caitlin Clark took the Indiana Fever from the bottom to the top in viewership. 1.1 million viewers per game shows just how much she's changed the game. No one else is pulling those numbers. Before we proceed further, let's see Clark performance.
Insert great shooter. I think it's helped her teammates find more confidence.
Clark and one.
She is incredibly well controlled off of the bounce, absorbing the contact, getting it to go high off the glass.
6 rebounds, 5 assists. She leads in points, rebounds, and assists. Clark from the logo.
He did well hope to see her soon in next season. Let's see what Clark said in her last interview.
You know, next year we're wanting to be a top 4 seed. You know, we believe we can build this place into a championship contender. That's what I believe. That's what I'm going to do everything in my power to help this organization get there. But you got to let it, hurt you a little bit and really drive you throughout the offseason.
Go down the line, James and Chloe.
I hope she will return soon in next season. This girl have potential to win. The news is spreading like wildfire. Check out what Jimmy Cook just tweeted. Hard to put into words just how impressive this season was for the Number Fever. Finally back in the playoffs, a clear core to build around, and arguably the best player in the game on your roster. Championship contention coming in 2025.
Now, one Indiana radio host commented this, quote, hopefully this run of games is the last best of 3 2-1 format in WNBA history. Understand why it's been like that for years. But with the influx of cash, charter flights, and the Caitlin Clark effect, it is high time to modify this archaic format. Now we had someone else commenting. A best of 3 series where a team doesn't even get the chance to play in front of their fans is trash. Caitlin Clark got y'all in the big leagues now. Do better at WNBA and change the format. It's absolutely true, right? Like I just said, Caitlin Clark didn't even get an opportunity to play in front of her home crowd. Maybe that would have changed the dynamic. Maybe after going down 0-2, coming back to Gainsbridge Fieldhouse, maybe winning the next 2 games.
Charlie raises a valid point about the outdated playoff format, especially with Caitlin Clark drawing huge viewership. A longer series could have given fans more thrilling moments and boosted the league even further. But now that she's out of the game, the WNBA just doesn't feel as exciting as before.
We can't take away from the historic season that she had. She was incredible, breaking all types of records, and that's something she was certainly proud of. We saw lots of smiles on the court as far as Caitlin Clark was concerned. Additionally, and we've talked about it a lot, Caitlin Clark is just such a class act. She held her head high.
Charlie is absolutely right. Caitlin Clark had an incredible, record-breaking season, and she handled it all with such grace. She's a true class act, both on and off the court. Let's see what Chiny Ogamiki said about Clark.
Career.
Yeah,
a year this far.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark came into the WNBA as the most impactful women's basketball player we've seen in a generation. And it took a combination of things, both on and off the court. Off the court, attendance, viewership. On the court, breaking the single season scoring record or the all-time scoring record in college. But now you see her in the WNBA, and you can say the exact same thing. Most impactful that we've seen in women's basketball for those same 2 reasons. Arenas were upgraded, viewership through the roofs. But then when it comes to the basketball, what she was able to do was truly impressive.
Chiny nailed it. Caitlin Clark's journey of WNBA is impressive.
And there's no place for it. And
Thomas, you need to move on from Clark and stop blaming her fans. Let's see what Clark responds.
Yeah, it's definitely upsetting. I don't think nobody in our league should be facing any sort of racism, hurtful, disrespectful, hateful comments and threats.
Clark is spot on. There's no room for racism or hate in the game. Real fans support, not tear down. Let's see what Jason Whitelock said.
You don't even know who the author is. It could have been somebody from Connecticut pretending to be an Indiana Fever fan, or someone from Connecticut who doesn't like you because you're a whiny victim 24/7. And we all know what this really is. It's an attack on Caitlin Clark.
Whitelock is right. People are just using this as an excuse to take shots at Caitlin. It's frustrating to see her success lead to unnecessary drama. Caitlin Clark has made a huge difference in the WNBA, breaking records and bringing in lots of new fans. Her influence both on and off the court is clear, with many praising her for the excitement she brings to the game. Even with the criticism and personal attacks, she stays strong and keeps inspiring people. Clark isn't just a great player. She could change the future of women's basketball.
Remember this.
If your only argument for Caitlin is that it would have been a great marketing opportunity and you don't have basketball experience or chemistry with the group listed in your reasoning, I don't want to hear it.
This is the most popular women's basketball player in the world.
It was a stupid decision because it compromises what your ultimate goal is, which is to elevate the WNBA brand.
Caitlin Clark is certain she will return even stronger next season after the Connecticut Sun beat the Indiana Fever 87-81 to end her hopes of finishing her rookie year with a WNBA championship title. On First Take, Molly, Chiny Ogwumike, and Stephen A. Smith reveal shocking fact about Caitlin Clark. But before that, let's see what Clark said.
She definitely came up with some big shots.
Got it off to a slow start, but Big Shot Bonner showed up when she needed to.
And later, with 1:05 left, Clark with the pass to Kelsey Mitchell. She misses, get the rebound.
Shoot the layup.
Not sure what happened there, but on the very next possession, Alyssa Thomas to Marina Mabry to seal the deal. Connecticut wins 87-81. They advance to their sixth straight.
She did her best, but let's see what Chiney said.
On the road, and this is late in the fourth, 4:06 left. Caitlin Clark comes up with a huge three. We've seen that left side three before.
Sidestep to the left. You know she loves to get into that three-pointer off the dribble, going to her left.
1:56 left. Alyssa Thomas with the pass to Dewana Bonner. She definitely came up with some big shots.
Got it off to a slow start, but Big Shot Bonner showed up when she needed to.
And later, with 1:05 left, Clark with the pass to Kelsey Mitchell. She misses, get the rebound.
Shoot the layup.
Not sure what happened there, but on the very next possession, Alyssa Thomas to Marina Mabry to seal the deal.
Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA as the most influential women's basketball player we've seen in a generation.
Yeah, a year this far.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark came into the WNBA as the most impactful women's basketball player we've seen in a generation.
I couldn't agree more with Chiney. Caitlin Clark is such an impactful player and has brought a whole new level of excitement to the WNBA. Her talent and influence are truly unmatched. Even with her WNBA season over, Caitlin Clark continues to set records as her entrance into professional basketball has skyrocketed interest in the product to uncharted territory. The Fever exited the postseason on Wednesday night with a loss to the Connecticut Sun. Game 2 of their WNBA quarterfinal matchup was the most-watched game in league history on cable, averaging 2.5 million viewers. The Suns' win over the Fever peaked at 3.4 million viewers and helped the second half of their playoff doubleheader between the Mercury and Lynx average 1.2 million viewers. The same viewing slot for the WNBA raised viewership 507% from last year's figures. Clark played in the most viewed cable telecast of the day for everyone in males under the age of 50.
Connecticut looking to close things out tonight, and here we go.
They're hoping that can discourage Alyssa Thomas from making some of her great passes.
No one picks up Clark, who cans the three. Rebound flagged down by Clark.
The latter game of Phoenix, Minnesota was the third most watched WNBA playoff game ever on ESPN. The first round games overall have averaged 1.1 million viewers, the most watched postseason in WNBA history. In the season-ending loss to the Sun, Clark scored 25 points, adding 9 assists and 6 rebounds. She's the first rookie to have pulled off a 25-5-5 game in the postseason. The WNBA Rookie of the Year being at the forefront of the Fever's revival led her to achieving several more astonishing feats during the regular season as well. Let's see what Molly said before.
Some of us felt like maybe she hadn't proved it in the WNBA, but at this point, she certainly has. So she proved everybody wrong.
What about the guards? Let's talk about the guards that did make it.
That's rude, Molly. Let's see what Smith said to Molly.
The only other athletes that I can see recently, the past generation, that have moved the needle like this, maybe Serena Williams, absolutely. Anytime she played, anytime she won titles, straight up viewership, box office. Simone Biles, we just came off of the Olympics. You look at that list. Now, the difference is Caitlin has yet to win.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about women's basketball is people are following her story. They followed her story at Iowa, now to the pros, and now people are going to continue to follow her until she hopefully gets a championship.
First of all, let's put this in its proper perspective. When I think about Caitlin Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady with what she did for the sport. That's not to take anything away from anybody else, but I often argue, when I've argued with folks about this, you think NBA players shouldn't be thankful to Magic Johnson?
It's frustrating to hear Molly downplay Caitlin Clark's Olympic team selection. Smith was right to call her out. Clark wasn't just chosen for her stats at the time, but for her incredible potential and overall impact on the game. Team USA picks players who bring more than just numbers, and Clark has proven she deserved that spot, no matter what anyone says. Molly asked to Smith,
That doesn't, when the audience was telling you, no, something else matters.
Let me just hold on. Let me say one thing, because I want to push this forward to Alyssa Thomas.
Sure.
Stephen A., what is the major point that you want to make here, your major thesis statement on this? Because every time Caitlin Clark comes up, I feel like...
Oh, Molly, seriously? Every time Caitlin Clark comes up, you just have to throw shade. It's pretty clear you can't handle how much attention she's getting. Maybe instead of taunting Smith, you should recognize that Clark's talent speaks for itself. Smith responds to Molly.
Of this narrative,
Well,
where
first-
you're frustrated.
Well, first of all, I'm not frustrated. Number two, I did get stuff off my chest on numerous occasions. I'm just reiterating my points because I think one of the things that needed to be mentioned was that even though Caitlin Clark is new to this, and even though she has proven to be a potentially sensational player, the resentment that some, not most, not all, but they say some, those who squeak get the loud, I forgot the phrase, but that stuff that was going on was real. And you see it with some of her fans. You see it with a lot of people who were looking at the WNBA and using that as a means to castigate them. People like myself, you and others certainly came to the WNBA's defense in terms of the credibility that the league has earned, that it richly deserves, the support that it has now received, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. Smith is absolutely right. Caitlin Clark's talent is undeniable, and the resentment she faces is real. It's frustrating to see some people ignore the impact she's having, while the WNBA finally gets the recognition it deserves.
I feel like basketball has really consumed my life for a year, so I feel like it'll be good for me to kind of reflect back on everything that's happened. Like, I feel like I didn't even have time to really reflect on my college career because it ended so fast, and then I came here and was trying to give everything I could to this team, and it was special. There was a lot of things that this group accomplished that, a lot of people probably didn't think was possible.
All right, Caitlin finally getting a moment to breathe, right? As she just mentioned, didn't even get to reflect at all on her college career and just jumped right into things and had an epic season. How would you describe, Chanae, her historic career?
Yeah,
a year this far.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark came into the WNBA as the most impactful women's basketball player we've seen in a generation. And
I can totally understand where Caitlin is coming from. She's been nonstop, giving everything to her teams, and it's amazing to see how much she's accomplished. Taking time to reflect on her journey makes sense, especially after such a whirlwind year. She's done so much that people didn't expect, and fans can't wait to see what's next for her. Andrea Carter revealed how Connecticut's Sun won. She said,
But also when you think about this Connecticut team, they're balanced. Yeah. Everybody scored that got in the game. They had 18 points off the bench. Veronica Burton and Olivia Nelson-Ododa were phenomenal. They played so well. Alyssa Thomas was doing her thing. Big Shot Bonner made shots. They were more experienced, but they also had more weapons. When you look at Indiana, they had 3 weapons offensively. It was Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aliyah Boston. They couldn't compete.
I think the biggest thing was
it's tough to see Indiana struggle, especially when they rely so heavily on Clark. Connecticut's depth and experience were just too much to handle. Even though Indiana couldn't compete this time, I know Caitlin gave it her all, and I can't wait to see her continue to grow and lead in the future.
A scoring record or the all-time scoring record in college. But now you see her in the WNBA and you can say the exact same thing. Most impactful that we've seen in women's basketball for those same 2 reasons. Arenas were upgraded, viewership through the roofs. But then when it comes to the basketball, what she was able to do was truly impressive. She averaged 19 and 8.
Fans agree with Chinese assessment, recognizing Caitlin Clark's continued impact in the WNBA. Her record-breaking college career and ability to boost viewership and elevate the game in the league have impressed many, showing she's truly a standout player in women's basketball.
Basketball, what she was able to do was truly impressive. She averaged 19 and 8. For some context, I won Rookie of the Year. I think I averaged 12. It is a huge feat to get those types of numbers. After Olympic break, you mentioned it, Molly. It's like finally she can wait, waiting to exhale.
Totally.
23, 9, and 8 were her averages, bringing the Fever to the playoffs. I know that there was a big 3 with Aliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell as well, but what she has been able to do has transcended not just women's basketball, but it's women's sports in this moment.
Fans amazed by Caitlin Clark. Averaging 19 points and 8 assists is huge, especially for a rookie. She's taking women's sports to new heights, and it's impressive.
Women's sports in this moment. The only other athletes that I can see recently, the past generation, that have moved the needle like this, maybe Serena Williams, absolutely. Anytime she played, anytime she won titles, straight up viewership, box office, Simone Biles, we just came off of the Olympics. You look at that list. Now the difference is Caitlin has yet to win.
Caitlin Clark is on the same level as legends like Serena Williams and Simone Biles in terms of impact. She'll be unstoppable in next season.
And Angel Reese knows a ring is coming.
The rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese is definitely one of the hottest topics in the WNBA right now. Both players had incredible games, but in a recent podcast, Dan Dockich revealed fascinating insights about their rivalry. He said,
"You know, it is amazing, and this is the stuff that we talked about basically all summer long. It is amazing the impact that Caitlin Clark has. I'm not throwing Angel Reese in there, but others do. And that's a good thing. But Caitlin Clark has literally carried the sport on her back all summer long. Caitlin Clark was the gift."
Many fans agree with Dan's words. Caitlin Clark had been amazing this summer and really had been the star of the sport. It's impressive to see how much she's contributed. The Indiana Fever rookies' arrival in the WNBA had signaled a new era for the league. Combined with the Angel Reese rivalry, not only did women's basketball change on a professional level, but also a college level. However, as recent numbers show, these former NCAA superstars have affected men's college basketball as well. Dan Dockich, in his latest Don't At Me episode, revisits a Fox News Digital article in conversation with two of the top men's recruits in college basketball this year. Let's see what Dan said.
No, Caitlin Clark's game resonated. Caitlin Clark's rivalry with Reese resonated. It resonated with me, which means it resonates with men.
Their competition inspires many and connects with a wide audience, including strong men. Let's see what Carrie Champion said about Clark and Reese rivalry.
The story of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, the rivalry, which really isn't a bad rivalry or a true rivalry on the court, is a good thing.
The rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese might not be super intense, but it's still a great storyline for the game. It adds excitement and keeps fans engaged. Dan said,
"I digress. It also resonated apparently with a couple of college basketball's #1 recruits, Dylan Harper and Ace Bradley, two of whom."
It's exciting to see that Caitlin Clark's story is resonating with top recruits like Dylan Harper and Ace Bradley. Their decision to head to Rutgers shows how impactful her game had been. It just goes to show how inspiring she is for the next generation of players. Harper, the #2 nationally ranked recruit in the class of 2024, told Fox how he thinks all players are at the end of the day the same, presumably because of their love for basketball. Fox writer Jackson Thompson also mentions how the NCAA Women's Final had 18.9 million viewers, while the men had 14.8 million. The younger son of former player Ron Harper, Dylan also revealed how he had always followed women's basketball to a degree because his mom coached teams. Meanwhile, Bailey, the #3 ranked recruit, told the news network that Reese and Clark were what made him follow women's basketball. But if he gets the chance to talk to either of them, who would he choose? "I would probably talk to Angel Reese, her competitiveness for sure. What keeps her driving?" Dan said.
FYI, the women's basketball tournament had 18.9 million viewers, while the men had 14.8 viewers. Ride or die with Caitlin Clark, baby.
While many believe, including Dan Dockich, that CC has carried women's basketball on her shoulders these last few years, her rivalry with Angel Reese is also what has made it more interesting. But the former basketball pro also believes that the WNBA was not ready for this boom. Well, let's see what Clark said about Reese.
I don't think I've ever been her teammate before with even a USA basketball or anything like that. So I know people are going to be really excited about it, but I hope it doesn't take away from everybody else. Like, this is a huge accomplishment for everybody on Team USA and everybody on Team WNBA. Like, they all deserve the same praise. Like, I don't want it to take away from any of that and just be the focal point of All-Star Weekend, because that's not fair to them. And, you know, obviously this is something that's really hard to accomplish. So the best we can celebrate all of them will be great. And just going to obviously soak in the experience, because you never know if you're ever going to be able to get back there. And it'll be fun for all of us.
She is amazing and respectful. How could we not support her? No matter what critics said, let's see Clark record breaking performance.
Corrals it, veers into space. Here's Clark. Clark looking to take it around Lloyd. Clark bodies in and finishes. Clark trying to shake Whitcomb. Step back is good. In the mid-range for Caitlin Clark. Missed there from Lloyd. Clark the fling ahead. Oh, what a dime! And Mitchell lays it in! And Caitlin Clark officially has the most assists ever.
Assist, another get ahead. Caitlin Clark, head up. right in stride for Kelby Mitchell. She did not have to alter her speed one bit.
Here's Katie Lou Samuelson. Can't hit the three in the corner. Boston the rebound. Clark a good look. She got it.